Today I've got a really important video for you, and it's about avatars. I've made one or two videos before about avatars, but in today's video I'm going to go deeper and I'm going to cover some of the questions that arose when I last made a video on avatars. So avatars are very misunderstood. They are divine beings which are here on earth at the moment. Some are known, some are unknown, and in today's video I'm going to break down exactly what avatars are. I'm going to explain a few of the avatars, let you know who some of them are, and I'm going to cover a lot of the questions and comments that I saw pop up on previous videos. So many people ask me, do they get born into a normal family? Do they have a body? Do they know who they are straight away? Or they ask, there's lots of questions that naturally arise when we talk about the topic of avatars. And you might be wondering, well, how the hell do you know what an avatar is? And I don't really expect anyone to believe me when I say that I am and have always been taught by an avatar alongside my dad. And this is something, as I say, that if I heard someone else say on a video, I'd probably be, very cynical about it and not really believe it. So I expect the same from everyone else. But just so that you can understand, for those of you perhaps that are on board with what I'm saying, you can understand where the information's coming from. It's not just my made up understanding of what avatars are. It's based upon my direct interaction with one over 25 years. I've had the absolute incredible fortune of being able to sit down literally man to man with them and ask them questions, the types of questions that human beings have been asking one another and sitting down and debating for thousands and thousands of years. Where have we come from? Where are we going? What's the purpose of this life? Who really are we? These are the types of questions that over the last 25 years I've been able to sit down and ask and get the truth, get a direct answer, and not just an answer from a higher being who is still working this out for themselves even though they're not here on earth, not from a channeled from a higher being or a higher source. It's come directly from the mouth of an avatar, which is God. It's quite literally the divine. And so I want to break down as well today the difference between human beings and avatars, because this is something that understandably a lot of people get confused with. So to start with, most people who watch my channel and who are spiritually minded are quite of the understanding that we are divine beings or we are God, but we are here having this human experience. But our true nature is source, it's the divine. And my teacher always said that is right. You are absolutely the divine in human form, having this human experience, but the difference is that you've forgotten who you are. You're not aware of who you are. You don't identify at all times with who you are. You've not had the realization of your own nature yet. You're wrapped up in, and I'm talking to myself when I'm saying this, you're wrapped up in the physical body, with the identification with the body, the name, the mind, the belief that you're a human being. And whilst theoretically you might get this glimpse and say, oh yeah, I am actually more than this, you fall back into all of the human tendencies right away. So we are here having a human experience, but we are actually spiritual beings. We're one with God at all times. We're one with everything, but we're not aware of it. We're not identifying with that. So we've come down, we're having this physical experience because this physical experience is absolutely incredible, and we get to experience so many things that in our natural form we wouldn't have the ability to experience. We wouldn't have to sleep, we wouldn't need to have sex, we wouldn't be able to eat or drink or watch a sunrise. These aren't experiences that in our light form we would have. So we've got this great gift of being able to take on a human body and have all of these amazing variety of experiences. The problem has come where the divine being so loving gave us free will, and with that free will we saw pleasure. We kept on seeking pleasure. We wanted more. We weren't satisfied, and over probably many lifetimes we've forgotten who we were, who we really are, and we've become wrapped up and caught up in this human life. And this is all stuff that my teacher has explained to me in detail. I don't want to go too far down that route. I just wanted to outline and create a foundation that will help you understand avatars a bit more. So that's the human being. And what we're now doing, those of you who are on a spiritual journey, we're now working our way back to the realization of what we've always been. And so we take on things like meditation, we take to a spiritual path, we start disciplining our life more, and this is all to streamline ourselves more and let go slowly but surely of the attachment that we have to the body and this obsession with the world and with pleasure and all of that. And eventually we will hopefully reach the point of total realization, total God realization, not just self-realization, but God realization, and be one with God in our experience of it again. We'll identify with that. And that's the journey that human beings are on. But clearly, we're not doing a good job of it, because there's wars everywhere, we're destroying the planet, people are depressed, people are unhappy, people are obsessed with material gain, with selfish pursuits. And so because of this, the divine has come down into human form in order to help us ascend our level of consciousness and overcome this ridiculous tendency that we've got to just fall into destruction and war and all of these horrible things that are going on at the moment. So avatars come for a very specific purpose. They come to help human beings, and that is all they do. They don't come to do anything other than teach us, once again, the path of love, the path of peace, to encourage people on whatever path it is that they're taking, whatever religion they're following, to pursue that religion, to discipline their lives, to be kind to one another, to be open to each other's perspectives, to aspire for more, to know that we're not just human beings, we're spiritual beings, and we're actually, and that spirit is God. We're the embodiment of the divine. So avatars come with all these beautiful messages, and they are here for that specific purpose. So they come down from God, and this is just a way of putting it, they come down, there's not really up or down, but they come down from God to interact with human beings in a very personal way. Because it would be very hard to share the messages and the teachings that they do with the accuracy that they're able to in this one-to-one human interaction in any other way. You know, channeling is one way, but people get this mixed up. They start thinking that what they've just thought has been channeled to them, and everything gets very diluted, very messy. But when they come in human form, they can be very specific and absolute. And also it helps the human beings that they're interacting with, or that know of them, to develop a relationship with God, because an avatar is God. And many people confuse avatars as being gurus or ascended masters or realized souls. Avatars don't have a soul. Avatars don't have an ego. Avatars come directly from God. They are born into a normal family. They have a normal childhood. They do go through the normal processes that all human beings do. They will choose, for whatever reason, whether they want to remain anonymous and live quietly in the background, or whether they want to be known. So Jesus, for example, was an avatar, and he was very known. Krishna was an avatar, also very known. Sri Sathya Sai Baba was an avatar, very known. Shirdi Baba, less known, but also known of. I'm told that there have been many other avatars that have not been known. And although they take on a human body, in the same way that we take on a human body, because they identify at all times as being God, they're not limited to the human body. So we are limited to this frame, this form, because we're so attached and identified to it. But an avatar is one with everything, because there's only one energy in existence, there's only one, and that is God. So even this bracken, this tree, you can see the tree in the camera, this tree is God. We call it a tree, it looks different to us because of the way it vibrates, but the essence of it is God. It's a manifestation of God. Everything is. So if you identify as God and you know yourself to be God, then you're one with everything. And so because of this, avatars have the full potential and capacity of the divine. They are omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. Human beings aren't. And this is a massive difference. Human gurus don't have that, anywhere near that potential. And another big difference, so many people will say, okay, well, what about someone who has become an ascended master, someone who has become God realized? They must be at the same level as an avatar. And whilst that is the highest, that is the pinnacle of a human being's potential, is to become God realized, the way it was explained to me was that if you imagine an infinite ocean of sugar, and if you were to take a grain of that infinite ocean of sugar, that's the human spirit, let's say. That's the human God aspect, the God spark. God is the infinite ocean. We are the spark of that. An avatar has access to and is one with the entirety of the ocean. So it is God, an avatar is God. Although they take a form, they have a name, they behave in a human way because they are here to interact with us, so they need to. They are the divine. And this is the massive, massive, massive difference between human gurus, ascended masters, people that channel beings from higher planes. Avatars are beyond all of that. Avatars are working on all those planes at all times, the physical plane, all of the other planes. They're one with everything, and they have the full potential and capacity of the divine. And because of that, the teachings that they share are the truth. They're absolute. And unlike going through a guru or going through an ascended master or learning from a human teacher, a spiritual teacher, which as amazing as all of those beings are in many cases, naturally, and I speak for myself when I talk about this, we make mistakes. We don't understand everything. We don't understand the full picture. We couldn't possibly understand the full picture because we're, at the minute, a human being. And an avatar is not. An avatar is the divine. It has the full picture that understands everything. It's within everyone. It's above everyone. It's below everyone. It is everyone. So the avatar knows everything. And the advice, the guidance, the teachings that avatars share are absolute and come directly from source. And this is why I often, over and over and over again, when I make videos and when I talk to my students inside my school, I'll say to them, take what you want from human teachers. By all means, look into other teachers out there, but understand that there is almost certainly going to be mistruths. So just take it as a grain of salt, but look at the avatar's teachings because they come directly from source. Now, naturally, if the avatar's teachings have been rewritten and translated and changed, and humans have had their hands on them, then they've likely been diluted. But if you look at Mother Mira, she's alive at the minute. She's an avatar that is based in Germany. She's on Earth at the minute. She is the divine in human form, and you can read her books and you can learn exactly what she tells you to do. She teaches very practical ways of living in the world, of behaving, of living this life, living a spiritual life, whilst at the same time having a family, having friends, going to work. You can read books that have been written about her, Answers 1 and Answers 2. I can put a link in the description if it's helpful. And you can get teachings directly from God. Likewise, you go through Sri Sathya Sai Baba. If you go to the first level of inquiry with a lot of these beings, you'll see controversy, you'll see people saying that they're charlatans or that they've done this thing or that thing. But if you can just say to yourself, okay, people have said this, it may or may not be true, I'm just going to put it to one side, I'm just going to go to the teachings. I'm just going to read the teachings first, I'm going to see what they'd say and see how that fits with me. And you may read the teachings of avatars that I've suggested and say, you know what, it's not for me. And that's absolutely fine. It doesn't necessarily, I'm not saying that you all have to follow these people. I'm just trying to make you aware of them. But what I would say is that the likelihood is that if you go to the teachings of Sri Sathya Sai Baba, Shirdi Baba, Mother Mira, and Krishna, I'm going to say those for now, you will feel the purity in the teachings. You'll feel the divinity in the teachings. I certainly do. And as I say, you do have to put the opinions of others, the controversy, whatever other people may say, to one side, just to let yourself get to the teachings, because that stops so many people. And I would just advise you, don't fall into the habit of the masses. Most people will just get to the first level inquiry and then follow the opinion of everyone else. I would just recommend not to do that, but you've got free will, you can do what you want. So avatars are the divine in human form. They're here on Earth now, and they're here to help us because we're at a point in our existence where we're at a very low point, lots of wars, depression, all of the things I've mentioned already. So they're coming down and they're sharing teachings that are uplifting humanity's consciousness. And my teacher, I've spent 25 years with him. I've spoke to him on the phone. You know, I speak to him on the phone on a weekly basis at the minute, but over the years I've spoke to him on the phone, spoke to him through email. When I was much younger, I met him when I was 6 through my dad. He was a family friend, and he's been my teacher ever since. And people may say, well, that can't be, it's not true. Of course you're not taught by an embodiment of the divine. And that you're totally open to have that opinion, that's fine. I would probably think the same if I watched a video that someone else had made talking about that and talking like that. But I've had the amazing grace to have this one-to-one close relationship with a divine being, and been taught so much that I've been able to apply to my life and change my life and make my life something absolutely beautiful. And that doesn't mean that, you know, not beautiful in the way that many people may consider a beautiful life to look like, but inwardly I'm just filled with love. I'm filled with a deep gratitude for life, a love for life, love for Source. And not only this, it's led me to have many experiences which have given me absolute certainty that he is who he is, because I've seen miracles. I've seen him heal. He's healed my knee, for example, when I was younger. I had an injury. I had a problem with my knee, Osgood-Schlatter's, I think it's called. And he came up to me one day when I said that I wasn't able to play football because of this injury, and he took the problem away and he went like that, and it was instantly cured. He's told me many things about my life that came true. So when I was probably about 12 or 13, he said, you're going to be a heating engineer and you're going to specialise in boilers. You're going to become a specialist in boilers. Well, 12 years old, I'd never heard of a boiler or a heating engineer. I had no interest in that because it wasn't even something I was aware of. But lo and behold, when I was 16, I got an apprenticeship with a plumbing and heating company. And then when I was about 20, I started working with a guy who specialised in boilers. And probably by the time I was, you know, in my mid-20s, I was a very good boiler specialist. I worked for a company that specialised in boilers, and became a director in that company with the chap that initially employed me. So he saw that, and then around that time probably he said, you're going to be a world teacher. I'd been meditating all my life. I had a lot of spiritual knowledge, a lot of spiritual experience. I was living a very spiritual life alongside normal life, and I decided that I wanted to teach and started putting out videos like this. And he said to me before I'd even started, you're going to be a world teacher, you're going to help thousands of people. And I thought in my head, I'd love for that to be the case, but that feels a million miles away from where I am at the minute. And I would like to think that I have helped now thousands of people. There's over 1,000 people who have been through my online school. There's about 600 people in there at the minute, and I've reached millions of people on YouTube. So perhaps he was right. I'd like to think so, and I hope to continue putting out these teachings and messages that hopefully help people. But there's been many, that's just two very small experiences that I've had, but I've had experiences in meditation, which I've spoken about before on this channel, where I've come out of my body and been in higher planes and gone through different planes to what felt like a ridiculously high state, and experienced my teacher there, seen my teacher there, and he's then spoken to me about it after the meditation without me having to tell him what happened or tell him that it had even happened. He just knew. He was laughing with me and talking about it. So I've got loads and loads and loads of experiences like this which have given me complete certainty. There's no questions, from my point of view, that he is who he says he is. And everything he shares is about helping people and about bringing love to the world and about bringing people to the path of peace and love. So avatars have a very important role, and they come because the divine wants to help us. We need to help ourselves now, and that's the big difference. But to make it clear, an avatar comes into a human form and lives exactly like a normal human being. Some of them make themselves known, some of them don't. They look like a human being. They could be a man, woman, doesn't matter. They, for whatever reason, sometimes remain under the radar. They tend to teach a small number of people close to them when they do that, and those people tend to spread it with more people. Or they make themselves very known and have a big audience. People like Sri Sathya Sai Baba was like that. What I would encourage you to do is search the people that I've spoken about. I'll put links to their books and teachings below, and just know that they're here. Know that these teachings are pure, they come from source, and if you want to propel your spiritual life, if you want to move forward, go through the avatars. If you're, for whatever reason, not feeling that, you want to learn from me, I've got loads of videos on YouTube. Just watch loads of my videos. I hopefully will give you information that's helpful. If not, if you want to learn more, for instance, about meditation, or if you want to be part of a community of other people, I'll put a link to my online school down in the description below. But failing that, good luck, and I'll see you on the next video.